buyers and sellers really try to figure out what to expect, how to plan for the end of each year, and then what's going to happen in Q1 or first quarter of the next year. So today we're going to go over kind of what to expect, where our trends are going, and understand some of that methodology. And again, looking at it over the year. My name is George Moorhead with Bentley Properties. Been practicing for about 27 years. And so we have a wealth of knowledge to offer you and to help you understand some of the trends and whatnot that we'll look at. But it is Christmas. So, gotta have the Christmas hat. There we go. All right. This year, I always seem to get a bigger bug for giving. So as you know, we do the Seattle Children's Hospital donation with the Strong program, which allows us to help kids fight cancer. With that, we also do a lot of the giving tree, and we give back, like helping families with a Christmas meal and whatnot. So again, because I got the giving bug, if you know of somebody who is really just kind of down on their luck, could really use a little pick-me-up, hey, reach out to me today. My staff is going to be there up until about 6:30, 7 o'clock. If you have a need, post it up in the corner, and let's work on getting them something to, brighten this gray day. And so today is a good day to do that, since we're going to do the giving tree again today. We're going to be, wrapping Patrick's gift. Patrick is just a blessing to me. He's been working with us now for about 3 years, and Patrick, who is autistic, and it's one of our ways of giving back, he comes in and he helps all those handwritten notes that our clients get. He helps me with those and helps with the, the information that sellers request and getting that out. And he will get excited about the smallest things. He'll get an address right or something, and he goes, yeah. And at first I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. And then it dawned on me one day, it was like, hey, how come I don't celebrate those small successes like that? And it was an absolute paradigm shift for me. And so I just love, love, love when he comes into the office, because it allows me and gives me that perspective to make sure that we look at the small things. We don't let those things pass, which again is translated into wanting to give more. And giving that is the vision, that is the driving force of our team and our company. And to give back is awesome sauce. So again, if you know of somebody that could use a little bit of help, hey, let's take care of them. Let's, let me know, and, we'll meet up. We'll get something to them, something, that's going to matter to them. It's really going to brighten their day. And so again, up in the corner, call me, text me, email me, whatever it is. My staff, they will be there. They will contact me. We will get something to them. We will make sure that, and if you want it anonymous, we'll leave it anonymous and everything else. But let's take this time of year and let's give that little extra help. All right. So today we're going to talk a little bit about market trend for the end of the year, what to expect, and really what's going to happen in Q1. All right. So let's go over that. So I printed off a couple of charts. These are from my friends at Trend Graphics, and Trend Graphics is a company out of Oregon. They help us with a lot of understanding the metrics, because we have to keep a very tight pulse on the market, our trending and everything else. And so they do an absolutely amazing job helping us out. So I have two different charts here. All right. The first one is the year over year. Now this is for the entire Northwest MLS, again, all the way from Bellingham down to the Tri-Cities and whatnot. This is going to be our 2 year over year, so I can show you a little bit bigger trend to show you how consistent this really is. But before we do that, let's remember the average close time it's just shy of 40 days. It's like 38 days, but let's just call it 40, because with VA and FHA loans, they tend to take just a little bit longer versus conventional, which can be shorter. So you want to keep that in mind as we're looking at these charts. That also means that you might remember when I say, hey, we're always looking in the rearview mirror. A June closed sale means that it went under contract in the middle towards end of May, July. So sometimes when we look at our charts and we look, oh my gosh, look at, the June numbers, oh my gosh, they're amazing. Okay, well, remember, that happened before. So we're always seeing that lag. And you're going to see here in a second why that is so important. My head keeps coming off. Maybe you need more hair. Anyway, all right. So let's take a look at our 12-month cycle here. So as you can see, we started in September on the cycle, and it ends in November of this year. But you can see that typically the dark green is our solds, right? And so in September, you can see that it comes in, and as we come into December, which is right here, December, January, we take that typical slowdown. Everybody says, oh my gosh, January is always the worst month. No, it's not. It's December. And so then when we look at the February numbers, we say, hey, look at that. And then March, hey, look at that. Okay, so remember, that's your late January, February market that is already starting to pick up momentum. Again, we're looking in the rearview mirror. Our listings, these are the current active listings. I know you can't see the blue one, this little spike right here. Those are new listings coming on. That means somebody said, hey, I want to sell my house, and now I'm going to put it on the market. That's the blue line. And I don't know if you guys can see that on the video, but the light green are the actual number of homes that are on market. Okay, our average market time right now, roughly about 37 days. It keeps creeping up, which is normal. All right, so as we come into here, you might say, okay, George, so are you telling us that the end of January, February, first part of March is really our better market, and then as we get into May, that our market actually, is continuing that momentum, but then in June, right here, we see that it starts to flatten out. Well, what happens in June? Well, June kids go on vacations, or getting out of school, people going on vacations. And so then that starts to wane. As you can see, it flattens out, okay? And then it'll pick back up again, and then it starts to fall off. But these months right here, that's when sellers really start to come back into the market. And as you can see, our blue line here, which really takes a upward angle. It's not a flat, it's a pretty steep angle as they're considering that spring market. So in a couple of weeks, we're going to talk about 20 things that a seller needs to look at before an inspection to make sure that their inspection goes smoothly. And there are some small things that you can do. In fact, if we can, going to get a couple of inspectors in here and talk about some of the pitfalls that sellers fall into that are so easy to fix before the inspection ever happens, that would remedy an issue that they end up getting caught and sometimes costs them thousands of dollars, literally thousands of dollars. So small things you can do to change that. All right, so when we come over here, you might say, George, is that really a true trend? Well, even if I go back 2 years, you can see that it cycles just like this, right? So here's our January, February. Here's January, February. Here's our spring market right here. Here's our spring market right here. It's the same thing. Even though we try and advise sellers, hey, be careful about coming anything in the June, July market, because people, that's not top of mind. They're on vacation, they're going camping, they're going, kids are out of school, and they're adjusting their family style. And they say, well, George, not everybody has kids in school. Well, I understand that. But funny enough, the cycle still remains the same. It has been that very consistent cycle for 20 years, 27 years of my career. And so this is a given. This is a timeline to keep in mind. So best times, February, March. Those are the best times to consider putting your home on the market. Next best times are going to be the post July 4th, because then you're going to get that summer market, but it also ends towards the middle 2/3 of August. Why? Because people are taking last minute vacations and they're actually getting kids back in school. And so their focus is not on buying a home. That focus happens at the end of September, first part of October, where we see a little bit of an increase in activity. And then of course it falls off really for December and into the first part of January. Then we pick back up again. So if you're looking at buying a home, the all-time best time right now, you might say, George, well, why? Because sellers are more motivated today and through January to go ahead and really kind of come to best terms in the perception of a buyer. Now, as the spring market picks up, they have the perception, oh, you know what? This is a better time, more buyers are going to come out, and which is true. And so then that's why, again, we see the upswing in the market. Absolutely predictable. Now, if a seller is out there and says, why would I sell in December or January? Well, here's why. If you want less people through your home, if you want more quality buyers through your home, those are the best times. If you want less disruption in your life with showings and everything else, less looky-loos, that is the time, because those people that come through are serious buyers. And that is what is absolutely critical. That is when I sell my homes, personally, my personal residence, those are the months that I choose. Now, you might say, George, are you leaving money on the table when it comes to the spring market? Rarely, no. Especially in a market that is still in a flattening upward trend. So you're not losing much of anything. You may lose a little bit of market momentum, but the big scheme of thing is that means that you can capitalize on that market. Okay. Now, all things considered, you might say, George, is there any way to overcome all of this? Well, there is. We do have what's called an off-market program where we have pre-approved buyers that are ready to go, 750 of them to be exact. And the benefit is it removes the cycles because you actually have more time to look for your home. You also don't have to do the typical updates. And you know exactly how much money you're going to have in your pocket for your next home purchase because your home is just pending a simple closing. It's simple. It's safe. It's a great program. We do, I don't know, probably 30, 35 of them every single year. In fact, we're in the process of 3 of them right now that are off market, but the sellers love it because it's not intrusive. That takes this cycle issue out. That's probably the only way to get around it. Otherwise, your average seller is going to be dealing with the cycles, and that's okay, just as long as you understand the timeline when to come in. Now, as you come over here and we take a look at our cycles, understand that a lot of this, as you can see, these numbers are just a tad bit lower than what they were in 2018. And most of that has to do with level of inventory and then interest rates. We saw a steeper dip towards the end of 2018 into 2019 because interest rates were higher. But as May numbers or as the May interest rates started to drop, the buyer activity continued up, right? So with more buyers, our inventory started to drop. As you can see, our inventories, number of homes, actually are down in 2019 where they were up in 2018. Interest rates played a massive role in this, and we'll continue to see those lower interest rates into Q1, Q2 of 2020. When you're doing that, when you're thinking about this, you're saying, okay, does that mean it's going to go crazy, crazy, crazy? No. Yes, we're going to have the normal spring, market bump, which is common, and sometimes it's a little later. This year it was a little bit later. The however is, when we're taking a look at, is this the best time to consider for a buyer, it will stay flat during 2020, and that's okay. The initial, oh my gosh, rates are coming down, rates are coming down, rates are coming down, buyers are surging to the market. Totally normal, but as those rates tend to stay low and they flatten out at that lower pace, the desire to, or the sense of loss because, oh my gosh, rates might go back up again, actually diminishes. So again, that's why we're anticipating 2020 Q1 and Q2 to be relatively flat. We don't see the rates going down much lower. Spoke with Dan Golden at Cornerstone. Juliana wasn't available, but pretty much the other 3 lenders that we spoke to all agree that we're going to see just kind of that floor of about 3.75 for residential, okay, meaning a single family home, because there's a little bit of an add-on for condos or townhomes, about a quarter rate. It just depends, right? But to give you an idea, there's an add-on for those. But we're a single family, 30-year fixed. You're going to look at about 3.75. And they think that it's going to stay between that and 3.875 or 3 7/8. It's going to stay relatively flat, which means that buyers' motivation is going to taper off just a tad bit. And that's okay. All things considered, if you're a buyer, you should be looking now and into January to get your best pricing. February, March, you're going to see the sellers come back into the market, and that's when we're going to see greater inventory. And again, because there's greater inventory, it's going to pique the interest of many buyers, again, subject to interest rate. So again, staying relatively flat between now and Q1, Q2 of 2020. If you have any questions about this, post them up in the corner. We'll go over all of those for you. I'll have Marie go ahead and post these charts up there for those people that like to look at charts. We'll post them up there for you. You can see them. If you want a chart that is specific to your neighborhood, let me know, because we track it all the way down to the specific neighborhoods. We will go ahead and fire that off to you, and you can take a look at trends. As an example, zip code 98007, which is in Bellevue. What's really funny is the number of active listings is very erratic, whereas the buyer trend is consistent right here. And it's really interesting because you can tell that the number of homes that come on market are inverse of that of when the buyers are looking, because it's almost like it's a delayed response for them. Oh, the market's doing good. Oh, let me put my house on the market. And they've missed that window of opportunity with the buyers when they should have been 30, 45 days ahead. Anyway, if you want metrics like that, let us know. Post it up there. We'll send them to you. There's no cost. We'll just send you a really great report that gives you some really easy to understand information. We write it super simple. That way, everybody can understand it. Anyway, all right. One last shout out. If you know of somebody who needs help, who needs a little pick-me-up, excuse me, a little pick-me-up for the Christmas holiday, reach out to me. Let me know. Let's get them taken care of. And it's that giving time of year. I got the giving hat on. I put my hat back down. And let's change more lives. And that's what our vision statement is with our company and our team. Change as many lives as possible. In the meantime, have a very Merry Christmas. Have an absolutely fabulous New Year. Hope 2020 turns out to be as amazing for you as hopefully it was this year. It definitely was for us. And we just want to thank everybody who has helped us out and to help the kids out at Children's Hospital. Again, thank you very much and have a beautiful day.